The Grand Council chamber was the most beautiful place Ambassador Sarah Chen had ever seen. Crystal walls stretched up to a dome that showed the stars themselves. Floating platforms held representatives from 47 different alien species. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living crystal. A few were just clouds of gas in special containers. Today was special. Today humanity would officially join the Galactic Council. Sarah walked forward, her shoes clicking on the smooth floor. Behind her walked Atlas, her German shepherd. The big dog wore his official service vest, blue with Earth's flag on the side. His tail wagged slowly as he looked around at all the strange sights and smells. Sarah had filled out all the paperwork. She had permission to bring Atlas. He was her emotional support animal. The council had approved it 3 weeks ago. Everything was legal and proper. She smiled at the nearest delegate, a tall being with purple skin and 4 arms. The delegate was looking down at her data pad, not paying attention. Then the delegate looked up. Her 4 eyes went wide. She saw Atlas. The data pad clattered to the floor. "Shredder!" the delegate screamed. "Terran Epic Shredder!" The word shredder echoed through the chamber. Suddenly, every alien was looking at Sarah. No, not at Sarah, at Atlas. The dog sat down, confused by all the noise. His tongue hung out in a happy pant. "Security, security." Another alien was shouting, this one covered in blue scales. "Code red. Predator alert." "What? No, wait!" Sarah raised her hands. "This is just my dog. I have permission." But nobody was listening. Alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed. Half the delegates were running for the exits. The insect-like beings took flight, buzzing toward the ceiling. The crystalline ones were making horrible scraping sounds that might have been screaming. One small alien, round and fuzzy like a ball, simply fainted and rolled under a chair. Atlas whined softly. He pressed against Sarah's leg, worried by all the chaos. His ears were back, and he looked up at her with confused brown eyes. Why was everyone so upset? "Everyone please calm down," Sarah shouted. "He's harmless. He's a good boy." Her translator device buzzed and sparked. Maybe it was broken. Maybe the words weren't translating right. Because the aliens seemed even more terrified now. Heavy footsteps thundered into the chamber. A dozen security guards rushed in, wearing thick armor and carrying weapons that glowed with blue energy. They surrounded Sarah and Atlas in a tight circle, their weapons pointed inward. Atlas growled low in his throat. He moved in front of Sarah, protective. "Don't hurt him!" Sarah cried out. "Please, there's been a mistake!" "Step away from the shredder, human," the lead guard's voice boomed through a helmet speaker. "Slowly. Keep your hands visible. He's not a shredder. He's a dog, a pet." The guard's helmet tilted. "Pet?" Translator error. Unknown word. Repeat. "Step away from the predator." Sarah's heart was pounding. This was going wrong. This was going very, very wrong. Atlas was just a dog, a gentle, sweet dog who loved belly rubs and chasing tennis balls. Why were they acting like he was a monster? A platform floated down from above. On it stood a being that looked like it was made of living diamonds, each facet glowing with soft light. This was Harmonix, the head counselor, the most important being in the known galaxy. Even Harmonix was shaking. The light inside the crystalline body flickered, like a candle in the wind. "Ambassador Chen." Harmonix's voice came from everywhere at once, musical but trembling. "We received your request to bring a companion animal. We approved this request. We thought you meant something small, something harmless. A Terran microbeast, perhaps. Something that eats plants." "Atlas does eat plants," Sarah said desperately. "He likes carrots and green beans. That," Harmonix pointed at Atlas with a shaking appendage, "is a Terran apex shredder. Our records are very clear. Your planet's most efficient predator. A pack hunter with jaws that can crush bone. A tracker that can follow prey for days without rest. A killer that your own ancestors feared and worshipped." Atlas yawned, showing all his teeth. 2 guards stumbled backward. "We cataloged your world 15,000 years ago," Harmonix continued. "A research team landed in a region your people now call Europe. 13 scientists went down to the surface. These creatures, these shredders, they hunted the entire team. Only 2 escaped. The survivors' reports gave us nightmares for generations. Sarah's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. Wolves. They were talking about wolves. Ancient wolves that had attacked some alien research team thousands of years ago, and they thought Atlas was the same thing. Counselor, Sarah said slowly, carefully, I think we need to talk about what exactly humans have been doing for the last 15,000 years. The chamber went silent except for the alarm still blaring in the background and Atlas's happy panting. This was going to be harder to explain than Sarah had thought. They put Atlas in a special room. The walls were thick, reinforced metal. A window of super strong glass separated him from Sarah and the council members. Atlas sat on the other side, looking confused and a little sad. Sarah stood in what the aliens called a secure bunker. It was deep underground, away from the main chamber. The council had moved the entire meeting here, just because of one dog. This is ridiculous, Sarah muttered, but she kept her voice calm. Diplomats had to stay calm even when things were crazy. Harmonix floated at the center of the room, still glowing but less shaky now. The other delegates sat far from the glass window. Some wore what looked like protective suits. Ambassador Chen, Harmonix began, we owe you an explanation. Please, watch. A hologram appeared in the air. It showed Earth rotating slowly. The image was old, the colors faded. 15,000 of your years ago, Harmonix said, the Clixian Empire sent a research team to your planet. They wanted to study your world before your species developed space travel. This was standard procedure. The hologram changed. It showed a spacecraft landing in a snowy forest. The trees were tall and ancient. Sarah recognized the landscape from history books. This was Europe, long, long ago. 13 Clixian scientists, Harmonix continued. They set up a small base. They planned to observe your early human tribes from a distance. The hologram showed alien figures in silver suits. They looked like the purple four-armed delegates Sarah had seen earlier. They were setting up equipment, taking samples, moving through the snow. Then the wolves came. Sarah watched as gray shapes moved between the trees. A pack, maybe 10 or 12 of them. They were bigger than modern wolves, with thick winter coats and sharp, intelligent eyes. The Clixians didn't notice them at first. Then, one scientist turned and saw glowing eyes in the darkness. What happened next was terrible. The wolves attacked with coordination that surprised the aliens. They separated the scientists. They cornered them. The Clixians tried to run back to their ship, but the wolves were faster, smarter, more determined. Only 2 survived, Harmonix said quietly. They barely made it to their ship. They carried recordings, and they carried terror. The Empire banned all travel to Earth. Your planet was marked as a death world, too dangerous for contact. The hologram faded. The room was silent. Sarah didn't know what to say. She had known that ancient humans feared wolves, but she had never thought about aliens meeting them. These creatures. A new voice spoke up. It was the blue-scaled delegate from earlier, now wearing a helmet. Your people called them wolves, yes? Our records show they are the ancestors of that thing in the next room. The delegate pointed at Atlas. Through the glass, the German shepherd was lying down, his head on his paws. He looked bored. They hunt in packs, the delegate continued, reading from a datapad. Bite force of over 400 pounds per square inch. Capable of bringing down prey 5 times their size. They can track a scent across hundreds of miles. They can run for hours without stopping, chasing their victims to exhaustion. They have night vision, enhanced hearing, and they feel no mercy. But, Sarah tried to interrupt, they are perfect killers, another alien said. This one made of shifting smoke inside a containment field. Evolution designed them to hunt and destroy. And you, Ambassador, brought one here, to a peace ceremony. Why? Sarah took a deep breath. Because he's my friend. The translator devices around the room buzzed and clicked. Several aliens looked at their translators, confused. Friend? Harmonix asked. The translation seems incorrect. You cannot befriend a predator. On Earth we can, Sarah said. We do. We have for thousands of years. Impossible, the blue-scaled delegate said. Predators cannot be trusted. They only understand hierarchy and hunger. This is universal law. Every species knows this. Atlas yawned on the other side of the glass. His pink tongue curled. His teeth showed white and sharp. 6 delegates jumped back from the window. He's yawning, Sarah said tiredly. He's sleepy. He's not threatening anyone. Those teeth, someone whispered. Look at those teeth. Sarah walked closer to the window. Atlas saw her, and his tail started wagging. He stood up, ears forward, eyes bright, happy to see her. That's a threat display, an alien shouted. It's preparing to attack. He's wagging his tail, Sarah said. It means he's happy. Rapid tail movement indicates agitation in predators, another alien said, reading from their database. Your creature is becoming aggressive. Sarah felt a headache building behind her eyes. This was impossible. They saw everything Atlas did as dangerous. Every normal, sweet dog behavior looked like a threat to them. Harmonix floated closer to Sarah. The crystalline being's glow was sad now, almost blue. Ambassador Chen, Harmonix said gently, I believe you do not understand the situation. We are not afraid because we are cowards. We are afraid because we have seen what these creatures can do. Our ancestors died to these predators. Their fear is in our genetic memory. But Atlas isn't. The Council has made a decision, Harmonix interrupted. Humanity may still join us. You are welcome here. Your species shows great promise. But there is one condition. Sarah's stomach dropped. She knew what was coming. All Terran apex shredders must be removed from human space, Harmonix said. Destroyed if necessary. We cannot allow such creatures near civilized worlds. If humanity wishes to join the Galactic Council, you must prove you can put safety above sentiment. Sarah looked through the glass at Atlas. He was sitting again, tongue out, looking at her with complete trust and love. You want us to kill our dogs? Sarah asked, her voice hollow. If that is what you call them, then yes, Harmonix said. No species can join the Council while harboring apex predators. This is not negotiable. Atlas tilted his head, the way he always did when he was confused. Sarah made a decision. She pulled out her communication device. Then I need to make a call to Earth, she said, because you're going to hear something that will change your mind. She hoped she was right. Sarah's communication device connected to Earth. The hologram projected above her palm showed Director James Martinez, head of the Human Diplomatic Corps. He looked tired. It was 3 a.m. in Geneva. Ambassador Chen, he said, rubbing his eyes. I heard about the situation. How bad is it? They want us to destroy every dog on Earth, Sarah said bluntly. Or, we can't join the Council. Martinez was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was the laugh of someone who couldn't believe what they were hearing. They want us to what? He said. Dogs, Director. They think dogs are monsters. Apparently, wolves killed some alien researchers 15,000 years ago, and they've been terrified ever since. Sarah could hear Martinez typing rapidly. Hold on. Let me check something. More typing. Then silence. Then, oh no. What? Chen, it's not just dogs. Martinez's face had gone pale. I'm looking at the Galactic Forbidden Species list right now. Dogs are on it. So are cats. And horses. And, oh God, hamsters. They're afraid of hamsters? Several aliens nearby heard this. They moved even farther away from the window where Atlas sat. Cats are ambush predators, one alien squeaked. Horses can kill with a single kick. Don't even mention the Terran microshredders. They mean hamsters, Sarah whispered to Martinez. Give me 4 hours, Martinez said. I'm calling an emergency meeting. We'll put together a presentation. If they want to understand Earth, we'll make them understand. The connection ended. 4 hours later, Sarah stood before the Council again. Atlas was still behind the glass, sleeping now. A team from Earth had sent her everything she needed. The presentation was loaded and ready. Honorable Council members, Sarah began. I want to tell you about something that doesn't exist anywhere else in the galaxy. We call it domestication. She pressed a button. The hologram showed a cave painting, ancient and beautiful. It showed a human and a wolf, side by side, hunting together. 40,000 years ago, Sarah said, humans and wolves made a deal. We would share our food and fire. They would share their strength and loyalty. Together, we survived the Ice Age. Together, we became something new. The hologram changed. It showed more images through human history. Wolves slowly becoming dogs. Different sizes, different shapes, but all of them alongside humans. We didn't conquer them, Sarah continued. We partnered with them. We changed together. They became gentler, friendlier, better at understanding us. We became better at understanding them. But they're still predators, an alien protested. You just admitted they were wolves. Yes, Sarah agreed. But predator doesn't mean enemy. It just means they evolved to hunt. Humans are predators too. We have forward-facing eyes. We eat meat. We hunted to survive. This caused a stir. Several aliens looked at Sarah with new fear. Wait, Harmonic said slowly. Humans are predators? Our files said you were omnivores. Gatherer species. We're both, Sarah said. We gather plants and we hunt animals. Our ancestors did both to survive. The room erupted in panicked chatter. Sarah raised her voice. But that's exactly my point. Predators can be civilized. Humans are predators who learn to farm, to build cities, to create art and music and peace. And dogs are predators who learn to love. She changed the hologram again. This time it showed a modern scene. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, hugging a golden retriever. The dog's tail wagged gently. The girl was laughing, her face buried in the dog's fur. We don't keep them as weapons, Sarah said softly. We keep them as family. The translator devices buzzed. The word family seemed to cause confusion. You raise them with your offspring? Someone asked, horrified. You let predators near your young? Yes, Sarah said, because they protect our young. They love our children. There are millions of stories of dogs saving human lives, pulling children from fires, warning families about danger, guiding blind people safely through cities. Another hologram. This one showed a rescue dog digging through rubble after an earthquake, searching for survivors. Then a service dog helping a veteran with PTSD. Then a police dog sniffing for explosives, keeping people safe. These are the monsters you fear, Sarah said. They find lost children. They comfort the sick. They give their lives to protect ours. Atlas woke up behind the glass. He saw Sarah and barked once, a friendly greeting. Every alien in the room flinched. That's not aggression, Sarah said tiredly. That's hello. Harmonics floated closer to the glass. The crystalline being studied Atlas carefully. Your creature, Harmonics said slowly, it obeys you? You give commands and it follows them? Yes, Sarah said. Watch. She walked to a small door in the glass wall. The guards immediately raised their weapons. Wait, several aliens shouted. But Sarah opened the door and stepped through, entering Atlas's room. The door sealed behind her. The council chamber was completely silent. Atlas stood up, tail wagging harder now. He walked to Sarah, and she knelt down. The big dog licked her face, and she laughed, scratching behind his ears. Sit, Sarah said. Atlas sat. Lie down. Roll over. Atlas rolled over, then looked up at her, tongue out, waiting for praise. Good boy, Sarah said, and Atlas's whole body wiggled with happiness. She looked through the glass at the frozen council members. This, Sarah said, her hand resting on Atlas's head, is what we have. This is what you want us to destroy. Not a monster. Not a weapon. A friend. A companion. A family member who would die to protect us, just as we would die to protect him. Harmonix's glow had changed color. It was softer now, almost warm. How many of these creatures does humanity have? The council leader asked quietly. Sarah smiled. About 900 million dogs. Give or take. The number hit the council like a shockwave. 900 million, someone repeated faintly. You live alongside 900 million apex predators, by choice. Plus the cats, Sarah added. The normal fated council. The council took a break. They needed time to process what Sarah had told them. 900 million dogs. The number was impossible to imagine. Sarah stayed in the room with Atlas. The guards had tried to make her leave, but Harmonix had allowed her to stay. Through the glass, she could see aliens arguing, gesturing wildly, checking their datapads over and over. "You're causing quite a stir, buddy," Sarah told Atlas. She scratched behind his ears. He leaned into her hand, eyes half closed with contentment. An hour passed, then 2. Finally, Harmonix returned. The crystalline being looked different somehow. Less afraid, more curious. "Ambassador Chen," Harmonix said through the speaker system, "the council has debated. We have a proposal." Sarah stood up. Atlas stood with her, pressed against her leg. "We want a demonstration," Harmonix continued. "A real one. Not through glass. We want to see this partnership you speak of." "Okay," Sarah said carefully. "What kind of demonstration?" "We want volunteers to meet your creature, face to face. No barriers." Sarah's eyebrows rose. "You want aliens to interact with Atlas directly?" "Yes. If what you say is true, if these creatures are truly safe, then we should be able to approach one, correct?" It was a test. Sarah knew it, but it was also an opportunity. "All right," she said. "But Atlas isn't a circus animal. We do this respectfully and slowly. He needs to feel safe, too." This seemed to surprise the council. The idea that the predator might also be nervous hadn't occurred to them. They moved to a larger chamber. This one had an open floor, plenty of space. The council members sat in elevated seats along the walls, far from the center. Medical teams waited on standby. Guards in heavy armor stood at every exit. Sarah walked into the center with Atlas. He looked around at all the strange beings watching him. His ears swiveled, picking up unfamiliar sounds. "It's okay, boy," Sarah murmured. "Just be yourself." Harmonix's voice echoed through the chamber. "We will begin with simple commands. Demonstrate your control over the creature." Sarah nodded. This part would be easy. "Atlas, sit." Atlas sat immediately, his eyes on Sarah. "Lie down." Atlas lay down, his head resting on his paws. "Stay." Sarah walked away from him. 10 steps. 20 steps. Atlas didn't move. His eyes followed her, but he remained perfectly still. "Come." Atlas bounded to her, tail wagging. He sat at her feet without being told. Murmurs rippled through the watching aliens. Some looked impressed, others still looked terrified. "The creature obeys," a voice said. "But obedience in a predator is not the same as safety. Trained killers are still killers." Sarah took a breath. "Then, let's move to the next part. Who wants to meet him?" Silence. No one moved. No one volunteered. "Please," Sarah said. "He won't hurt you, I promise." More silence. Sarah felt disappointment settling in her chest. They were too afraid. This wasn't going to work. Then a small figure stepped forward. It was the fuzzy, ball-like alien from before, the one who had fainted during the first panic. "I will try," the alien said in a squeaky voice. "My name is Pip. I am very frightened, but I want to understand." Sarah smiled. "Thank you, Pip. That's very brave." Pip rolled forward slowly, shaking with every movement. Atlas watched the approaching alien with interest. He tilted his head, curious. "Stop about 5 feet away," Sarah instructed. "Let him come to you." Pip stopped. The little alien was vibrating with fear. Atlas stood up. Several guards raised their weapons. Sarah shot them a warning look. "Easy, Atlas," she said softly. "Gentle." Atlas walked toward Pip slowly. He lowered his head, sniffing the air. Then he sniffed Pip directly, his nose almost touching the alien's fuzzy surface. Pip made a sound like a tea kettle whistling. "He's just smelling you," Sarah explained. "Dogs understand the world through scent. He's learning who you are." Atlas finished sniffing. Then, gently, he licked Pip. Pip squeaked. It touched me, with its mouth. The predator mouth. "He likes you," Sarah said, grinning. "That's how dogs show affection." "Affection?" Pip sounded confused. "The creature feels affection? For me? We just met." "Dogs are like that," Sarah said. "They love easily. It's one of their best qualities." Atlas sat down next to Pip, tail wagging. He looked proud of himself. Pip slowly extended a small appendage. Carefully, hesitantly, the alien touched Atlas's head, Atlas leaned into the touch, just like he had with Sarah. "Oh," Pip said softly. "Oh my, it's so warm." And soft. And it's vibrating. "He's not vibrating, that's his tail wagging," Sarah explained. "It means he's happy." "Happy," Pip repeated. "The Terran Apex Shredder is happy because I am touching it. Because you're petting him," Sarah corrected gently. And yes, other aliens were watching closely now. Some were leaning forward in their seats. The fear was still there, but curiosity was growing stronger. Harmonics floated down from the elevated platform. The crystalline being approached slowly, light pulsing with uncertainty. "May I?" Harmonics asked. "Of course," Sarah said. Harmonics came closer. Atlas turned to look at the shimmering being. He had never seen anything like Harmonics before. His tail wagged faster. "What should I do?" Harmonics asked. "Just let him sniff you," Sarah said. "Then you can pet him if you want. He likes being scratched behind the ears." Harmonics extended a crystalline appendage. Atlas sniffed it carefully. Then, to everyone's shock, he licked it. The chamber gasped. Guards tensed. But Harmonics didn't pull away. The council leader was perfectly still, experiencing the first dog kiss in galactic history. "Extraordinary," Harmonics whispered. "It's not attacking. It's greeting me?" "Yes," Sarah said. "He's saying hello." More aliens began to approach, slowly at first, then with growing confidence. The blue-scaled delegate, a cloud being who formed a tentative hand, even one of the insectoid creatures clicking nervously. Atlas greeted each one patiently. He wagged his tail. He sat for them. He let them touch his fur, his ears, his paws. He was the perfect ambassador, better than Sarah could ever be. Then Atlas went rigid. His ears shot forward. His body tensed. A low growl rumbled in his chest. He was staring at an empty viewing box high on the chamber wall, a box where no one was sitting. "What's wrong?" Sarah asked, her hand on Atlas's back. Atlas growled louder, a warning. His hackles rose. "Guards," Harmonics commanded. "Check that viewing box, now." 6 guards flew up to the box. They crashed through the door. There was a struggle. Shouts. The sound of energy weapons charging. Then they emerged, dragging a figure in black armor an alien Sarah had never seen before. Tall, reptilian, covered in red scales. "Korth," Harmonics said, and fear filled that single word. "That's a Korth assassin." The guards scanned the assassin. They found a weapon, sleek and deadly, aimed at where Sarah and the human delegation had been sitting. Everyone looked at Atlas. The dog was still tense, still growling, standing protectively between Sarah and the captured assassin. "How did it know?" someone asked. "We have the best stealth technology in the galaxy." Our sensors detected nothing. Sarah knelt beside Atlas, her heart pounding. Dogs can smell fear. They can hear heartbeats. They can sense intent. Atlas knew someone dangerous was there, because that's what he was bred to do. Protect. The chamber doors opened. A massive figure entered. 8 feet tall, covered in crimson scales, wearing armor decorated with battle scars. Other Korth warriors followed, each one radiating power and danger. This was Ambassador Raskar, leader of the Korth delegation, the most feared military species in the galaxy. Everyone waited. What would Raskar do? The Korth were proud, violent, unpredictable. Raskar walked to the center of the chamber. The massive alien stopped in front of Atlas. Then, Raskar did something that shocked every being present. The Korth ambassador knelt. No one could believe what they were seeing. The Korth never knelt. Never. They were the galaxy's greatest warriors. They bowed to no one. Yet here was Ambassador Raskar, on one knee, massive head lowered before Atlas. Atlas stopped growling. He looked at Sarah confused. Was this new alien a threat or not? "Easy, boy," Sarah whispered. Her heart was hammering. She had no idea what was happening. Raskar spoke. The voice was deep, like rocks grinding together. "Guardian beast," the Korth said. "You detected the hidden enemy. You protected your human. You are worthy of respect." The massive alien looked up at Sarah. Your creature saved your life, Ambassador. The assassin's weapon was charged. One more minute, and you would have been dead. Your entire delegation would have been eliminated. Sarah's legs felt weak. She sat down hard on the floor. Atlas immediately pressed against her, offering comfort. Who sent the assassin? Harmonix demanded. Speak, Rathscar. Is the Korth hegemony responsible for this attack? No, Rathscar said, standing to full height. This assassin is from a rogue faction, Korth, who oppose human membership in the Council. They believe humans are too dangerous to be allowed into civilized space. Dangerous? Sarah said with a bitter laugh. We're dangerous? Someone just tried to kill us. Rathscar's eyes, golden and reptilian, focused on her.
Yes, Ambassador.
You are dangerous. That is precisely why the rogue faction fears you. And after today, I understand why. The Korth gestured to Atlas. Your species did not just survive alongside apex predators. You made them loyal. You made them love you. You turned nature's perfect killers into perfect protectors. Rathscar walked around Atlas slowly, studying him. Atlas tracked the movement, but didn't growl. The Korth was showing respect, and somehow the dog understood that. Do you know what we Korth have tried for thousands of years? Rathscar continued. We have tried to tame the Razorfangs of our homeworld. Great beasts, powerful hunters. We wanted them as war animals. We failed. Every attempt ended in death. The Korth warrior looked at the assembled council. Every species here has a predator story. Creatures we fear. Creatures we cannot control. It is the way of the universe. Predators cannot be trusted. But humans? Rathscar turned back to Sarah. Humans somehow broke that rule. You didn't conquer your predators. You didn't cage them or kill them all. You became their family, and they became yours. Harmonix floated forward. How many of these guardians does your species possess, Ambassador Chen? You mentioned 900 million dogs. Is this correct? Sarah nodded. Approximately, yes. Dogs are everywhere on Earth. In homes, on farms, in cities. We have breeds for different purposes. Some help blind people navigate. Some find people trapped in disasters. Some just keep us company when we're lonely. And cats? A small voice asked. It was Pip, still standing near Atlas. You mentioned cats earlier? About 600 million cats, Sarah said. They're smaller than dogs, more independent, but also companions. The council chamber filled with shocked murmuring. So, humanity lives with over 1 billion predators, the blue-scaled delegate said slowly. By choice. In your homes, near your children. And you consider this normal? Yes, Sarah said simply. We do. Rathscar laughed. It was a harsh, barking sound that made several aliens jump. This is why the rogue faction fears you. They see what I see. Any species that can turn predators into family members, that can live in harmony with creatures designed to kill, that species is more powerful than any weapon. The Korth placed a clawed hand over his chest, a gesture of salute. The Korth hegemony officially supports humanity's membership in the Galactic Council. Any species capable of this level of partnership deserves our respect. He paused, golden eyes gleaming. And our caution. Other delegates began to speak up. Some agreed with Rathscar, others were still uncertain. The debate grew heated. Then, Atlas did something unexpected. He walked away from Sarah. He walked right up to Rathscar, the 8-foot warrior who could probably tear Atlas apart with his bare claws. Atlas sat down. He looked up at the Korth. Then he offered his paw. Rathscar stared at the extended paw. The entire chamber went silent. What is it doing? Rathscar asked. He's offering to shake hands, Sarah explained, her voice tight with emotion. It's a gesture of friendship. He wants to be your friend. Rathscar slowly reached down. Carefully, gently, the massive warrior took Atlas's paw in his clawed hand. Atlas's tail wagged. Extraordinary, Rathscar murmured. I am a killer. I have ended hundreds of lives in battle. Yet this creature, this guardian, offers me friendship without hesitation. The Korth looked at Harmonix. Council leader, I have seen enough. I call for an immediate vote on humanity's membership. Harmonix's crystalline form pulsed with light. Very well. All delegates, prepare to vote. Sarah held her breath. This was it. Everything came down to this moment. The votes came in one by one. Some voted yes. Some voted no. The count was close. Too close. Finally, Harmonic spoke. The vote is complete. Humanity's membership is approved. Relief flooded through Sarah. They had done it. Humanity was officially part of the Galactic Council. However, Harmonics continued, and Sarah's relief turned to worry. There is one condition. Sarah waited. What now? What else could they possibly want? Harmonics floated down to where Atlas sat with Raskar. The crystalline being studied the dog carefully. Humanity must share this gift, Harmonics said. This knowledge of domestication, this ability to partner with predators. You must teach us. You must help other species find what you have found. Sarah blinked. You want us to teach you how to domesticate animals? Yes, Harmonic said. For millennia, the galaxy has been stagnant. We reached the stars, but we left our world's creatures behind. We never learned to partner with nature. We only learned to fear it or fight it. The council leader's glow became warm, almost golden. You humans did something we thought impossible. You made friends with your planet's deadliest creatures. Perhaps with your help, we can do the same. Pip rolled forward excitedly. I want to try. My homeworld has the fluff claws. We always thought they were too wild, too dangerous. But maybe other aliens began talking, discussing possibilities. Species they had feared, creatures they had never considered approaching. Rathscar looked down at Atlas, still holding the dog's paw. Perhaps, the Korth said thoughtfully, the Razorfangs could be partners instead of enemies. Perhaps we have been trying the wrong way all along. Sarah felt tears in her eyes. This was more than she had hoped for. This was everything. We'll help, she said. We'll teach you everything we know about patience and trust and building bonds across species. Atlas barked happily, as if he understood. Maybe he did. The council session ended with something unprecedented. Hope. Hope that the galaxy could change. Hope that fear could become friendship. And it all started with one dog who just wanted to be a good boy. 1 year later, Sarah walked through the Grand Council chamber with Atlas at her side. Everything had changed. Where aliens once ran in terror, now they stopped to greet Atlas. A Vryn delegate waved her purple arms. Good morning, Atlas, she called out cheerfully. Atlas wagged his tail. He had become something of a celebrity in council headquarters. Sarah smiled, remembering that first chaotic day. It felt like a lifetime ago. They passed a viewing screen showing news from across the galaxy. The headline read, Terran Domestication Institute celebrates first anniversary. It had been a busy year. The institute was Sarah's idea, approved unanimously by the council. Its mission was simple: teach other species what humanity had learned over 40,000 years. How to approach predators, how to build trust, how to create partnerships instead of fear. The results had been incredible. On the Vryn homeworld, a species called shadow stalkers had terrorized settlements for generations. They were pack hunters, intelligent and deadly. The Vryn had always killed them on sight. Now, 3 Vryn families had shadow stalker companions. The creatures were still learning, still adjusting, but the bond was forming. Slowly, carefully, with patience. Sarah had visited last month. She had watched a Vryn child play with a young shadow stalker, both of them tumbling in the grass. The sight had made her cry. The Chuck, the insect-like species, had succeeded too. Their world had enormous beetle creatures called crunchers. The Chalk had always seen them as mindless eating machines, but with human guidance, they discovered crunchers were actually quite intelligent. They could learn commands. They could bond with handlers. Now crunchers helped sheik farmers, clearing fields and protecting crops from smaller pests. Even the crystalline beings like Harmonics had made progress. Their world had energy-based life forms that could be dangerous, but they had learned to communicate with them, to coexist peacefully. And then there were the Korth. Sarah passed another screen showing Ambassador Rathscar on his homeworld. The massive warrior stood beside a creature that looked like a cross between a wolf and a dragon, a Razorfang. The creature was enormous, covered in red scales and black spines. Its teeth were like knives. But it sat calmly beside Rathscar, responding to his commands. The Korth had named it Honor. It was the first Razorfang ever successfully bonded with a Korth warrior. Rathscar had sent Sarah a message last week. It said simply, "You were right. Partnership is stronger than conquest. Honor is not my weapon. He is my friend." Sarah reached the council meeting room. Today was special. Today they would discuss expanding the Institute's programs even further. She entered to find the room already full. Delegates from dozens of species waited, and all of them were smiling. Harmonics floated at the center, glowing bright with happiness. "Ambassador Chen, welcome. We have wonderful news to share." "Good news is always welcome," Sarah said, taking her seat. Atlas lay down beside her chair. Pip rolled forward, practically bouncing with excitement. Sarah, I did it. I finally bonded with a Fluffclaw." "That's amazing, Pip," Sarah said, genuinely delighted. "Congratulations." "Her name is Whisper," Pip said proudly. "She's still nervous around others, but she trusts me. She sleeps in my habitat pod. We're a team now." Other delegates shared their own stories. Success after success. Species that had lived in fear of their world's predators were now learning to live alongside them. Not every attempt worked. Some species and some creatures simply weren't compatible. That was okay. Humanity hadn't domesticated every predator on Earth either. The important thing was trying. The important thing was moving beyond fear. Harmonics called the meeting to order. "Today, we have a proposal. The Institute has been so successful that we want to expand it. We want to create branches on every council member world. We also want to establish the Guardian Protocol." Another delegate added, "Any species that successfully bonds with a predator can bring their companion to council sessions." Just like Ambassador Chen brings Atlas. Sarah felt warmth spreading through her chest. A year ago, Atlas had been seen as a monster. Now he was inspiring an entire galaxy to change. "There's one more thing," Harmonics said, floating closer to Sarah. "We want to honor you, Ambassador. You and Atlas. You showed us that the universe doesn't have to be divided into predators and prey. You taught us about partnership, about trust, about love crossing the boundaries of species." The crystalline being gestured, and a hologram appeared. It showed a statue being built on the council homeworld. The statue depicted a human and a dog, standing side by side, looking toward the stars together. "This monument will remind future generations," Harmonics said softly. "It will tell the story of how one human and one dog changed everything." Sarah couldn't speak. Tears ran down her face. Atlas, sensing her emotion, put his head in her lap. "We were stuck." Rathscar's voice came through the communication system. He was attending remotely from his homeworld. "For thousands of years, we were stuck. We conquered worlds, but we never truly understood partnership. You freed us from that limitation." "I didn't do it alone," Sarah finally managed to say. "Atlas did most of the work. He just had to be himself. He showed you what dogs have always been. Loyal, loving, and brave. And you showed us what humans are," Harmonics replied. "A species that doesn't see enemies everywhere. A species that reaches out with friendship first. A species that turned the galaxy's understanding upside down." The meeting continued with discussions of budgets and programs and expansion plans, but Sarah barely heard it. She was thinking about Earth, about all the dogs and cats and horses and every other animal that humans had befriended. Humanity had always thought their greatest achievement was reaching the stars, building cities, creating technology. But maybe their real achievement was simpler. Maybe it was learning that different species could be family. That love didn't require similarity. That trust could cross any boundary. The meeting ended. Delegates filed out, many stopping to pet Atlas on their way. He greeted each one patiently, tail wagging, distributing friendship to anyone who wanted it. Sarah and Atlas walked out into the corridor. Through the massive windows, she could see ships from 100 different worlds. The galaxy was vast and diverse, and sometimes frightening. But it was also full of potential, full of connections waiting to be made, full of friendships waiting to happen. Atlas barked softly, looking up at her. "Ready to go home, boy?" Sarah asked. Atlas's tail wagged harder. Home meant Earth. Home meant their apartment. Home meant their comfortable couch and his favorite toys. But home also meant something bigger now. Home was anywhere trust existed, anywhere friendship bridged the gap between different species, anywhere fear turned into love. The galaxy had spent millions of years trying to conquer nature. Humanity had simply asked it to sit and stay, and that, Sarah realized, had made all the difference. As they walked toward the transport bay, Sarah heard a young alien child ask their parent, "Can we get a guardian too, like the humans have?" The parent's answer made Sarah smile. "Maybe, little one. Maybe we can. The humans are teaching us how." Atlas looked up at Sarah, tongue out, eyes bright. He didn't know he had changed the galaxy. He just knew he was a good boy who had done his job. Stay with Sarah, protect Sarah, love Sarah. And in doing that simple job, he had taught the universe that the best weapon against fear was friendship. The best defense against loneliness was companionship. And the best way forward was together. The end.